There comes a moment in life when you look around and realize the room is empty. Nobody is calling. Nobody is checking on you. Nobody is asking how your heart is doing. And for a moment you wonder, what is wrong with me? Listen to me. Nothing is wrong with you. Being alone is not proof that you are unwanted. Being alone is not proof that your life has no meaning. Sometimes life removes the noise because it wants you to finally hear yourself, and I know it hurts. I know what it feels like to give your heart to people who walked away with pieces of it. I know what it feels like to sit quietly at night and wish somebody would simply say, I am here. But you cannot spend your entire life waiting for somebody else to arrive before you begin living. You have a life to live. You have a soul to protect. You have a purpose that does not disappear simply because somebody left. So if you have nobody today, stand up anyway, smile anyway, pray anyway, build anyway, because your loneliness does not get to decide your destiny. You have to learn how to sit with yourself without feeling abandoned. That is a powerful kind of freedom. Because when you can be alone without feeling empty, you stop begging people to fill spaces they were never meant to fill. You stop chasing, you stop forcing, you stop sending messages just because you are afraid of silence. You stop accepting crumbs just because you are hungry for connection, and you begin to understand something important. Being alone is not the same thing as being unloved. Sometimes you are alone because life is teaching you how to stand. Sometimes you are alone because you have outgrown the people who once surrounded you, and sometimes you are alone because you need to discover who you are when nobody is watching. That discovery can change your entire life. Start spending time with yourself. Not as punishment, as practice. Take yourself outside. Walk without needing someone beside you. Sit somewhere peaceful. Ride something that feeds your mind. Eat your meal slowly. Watch the sunset. Listen to music. Pray in silence. Write down what you are feeling. Give yourself permission to breathe without constantly searching for somebody to rescue you from your own thoughts. Learn what makes you laugh. Learn what makes you angry. Learn what makes you afraid. Learn what gives you peace. Learn what makes you come alive. Because how can you expect other people to understand you when you have never taken the time to understand yourself? You must become familiar with your own heart. You must know the difference between loneliness and peace. You must know the difference between needing someone and simply wanting companionship. There is nothing wrong with wanting love. There is nothing wrong with wanting friendship. There is nothing wrong with wanting someone to hold your hand when life becomes difficult. But there is danger in believing that your life has no value until somebody arrives. Your life has value now. Your story matters now. Your existence matters now. And yes, some days will be difficult. Some mornings you will wake up wishing things were different. You will look at your phone and hope somebody has remembered you. Some nights will feel longer than others. You may hear laughter outside while you sit quietly with your own thoughts. And in those moments, don't lie to yourself. If it hurts, admit that it hurts. If you miss someone, admit that you miss them. If you feel lonely, admit that you feel lonely. But do not let that feeling become your identity. You are experiencing loneliness. You are not loneliness. There is a difference. Do not run from those moments. Sit with them, feel them, learn from them, then get up, wash your face, make your bed, open the curtains, take a breath, say a prayer, and move forward. You are not required to have everything figured out. You are required to keep becoming. That is the discipline of solitude. You don't use loneliness as an excuse to destroy yourself. You use it as an opportunity to rebuild yourself. You become stronger in the quiet. You become wiser in the silence. You discover your boundaries. You discover your values. You discover what you will no longer tolerate. And slowly, something beautiful happens. You stop fearing your own company. You stop needing constant noise. You stop confusing attention with love. You stop confusing presence with loyalty. And you begin to realize that the safest place you can build is within yourself, not because you will never need anyone, but because you will never again abandon yourself just to keep someone else. Listen carefully. People leaving does not mean you are worthless. People changing does not mean you are unlovable. People forgetting you does not mean you should forget yourself. Ride that again in your heart, because sometimes the deepest wound is not that someone walked away. The deepest wound is what you start believing about yourself after they leave. You start asking, what was wrong with me? You start replaying conversations. You start remembering every mistake, every argument, every moment you could have done something differently. You start wondering if you had been better, kinder, quieter, stronger, prettier, richer, more successful. Maybe they would have stayed, but stop. You cannot build your identity around somebody else's decision to leave. Sometimes people leave because their chapter in your life has ended. Sometimes they leave because they were never prepared to walk the whole journey with you. Sometimes their purpose in your story was temporary. And sometimes you have to let them go because holding on is costing you your peace. You cannot keep reopening the same wound just because you are afraid of an empty space. You cannot keep knocking on a door that has already been closed. There comes a moment when you have to say, I loved you, I valued you, I wanted you to stay, but I will not lose myself trying to make you remain. That is strength, that is self-respect. Do not make another person's decision the definition of your value. You were valuable before they arrived. You were valuable while they were there, and you are valuable after they leave. Your worth does not rise because somebody chooses you. Your worth does not fall because somebody rejects you. Understand that. You cannot build your identity on the opinions of people who change their minds. You cannot build your confidence on somebody else's attention. You cannot build your peace on somebody else's presence because people change, people grow, people leave, people misunderstand you. People sometimes see only a small part of your story and judge the entire book. Let them. You do not have to spend your life proving your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. Build deeper. Build your character. Build your faith. Build your discipline, build your purpose, build your integrity, build the quiet knowledge that you are becoming someone you can respect when you look in the mirror. And understand this, you do not need everybody to approve of you. You need to know who you are. You need to know what you stand for. You need to know what you will never compromise. You need to know what kind of person you are becoming. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't ask, who is going to love me? Ask, how am I going to love myself today? How am I going to speak to myself? How am I going to protect my peace? How am I going to honor my values? How am I going to use this day? How am I going to become stronger? How am I going to become wiser? How am I going to become more disciplined? Those questions change everything because your life cannot be controlled by who stays. Your future cannot depend on who leaves. Your confidence cannot depend on who notices you. And your happiness cannot depend on who chooses you. Choose yourself not selfishly, not arrogantly, but consciously. Choose yourself enough to walk away from disrespect. Choose yourself enough to stop begging. Choose yourself enough to heal. Choose yourself enough to keep going because the moment you stop measuring your worth by who stays, you become free. Your empty hours can destroy you, or they can develop you. The difference is what you do with them. You have time now. Use it. You have silence now. Listen to it. You have space now. Fill it with something meaningful, because loneliness gives you something most people spend their entire lives running from. Time alone with yourself, and what you do with that time can change the person you become. You can spend those hours scrolling endlessly, comparing your life to everyone else's, wondering why somebody has what you don't. Or you can put the phone down, pick up a book, write down your goals, work on your body, strengthen your mind, pray, learn repeat. Build, dream again. You don't need a crowd to begin. You don't need applause to make progress. You don't need somebody standing beside you saying, I'm proud of you. Sometimes you have to become proud of yourself. There is something beautiful about becoming productive when nobody is watching, because then you are no longer performing for applause. You are building because you believe your future deserves the effort. That is discipline. Doing the work when nobody congratulates you. Getting up when nobody is waiting for you. Keeping your promises to yourself when nobody would know if you broke them. Waking up early because you said you would. Going for the walk because you promised yourself. Learning the skill because you know it can change your future. Praying even when you don't feel like it. Choosing progress even when nobody notices. That is how strength is built. Quietly, slowly, repeatedly. You say you want a better life, then build one. One day at a time, one decision at a time, one disciplined morning at a time. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait until everything feels perfect. Start with what you have, where you are. Start while you are afraid. Start while you are uncertain. Start while nobody believes in you, because sometimes the first person who has to believe in your future is you. And don't underestimate small progress. A single page can become a book. One workout can become a stronger body. One prayer can become deeper faith. One disciplined decision can become a new life. A quiet life can still be a powerful life. A simple life can still be a meaningful life. A lonely season can still produce a strong person. Never confuse a slow season with a wasted season. Sometimes God allows you to walk through a season where you cannot depend on people because He is teaching you how to depend on Him. Sometimes the silence is not punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. Sometimes the closed door is not rejection. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes the absence of people creates the space you need to hear what your soul has been trying to tell you. So don't curse every season of solitude. Some seasons are classrooms. Some seasons are preparation. Some seasons are where your roots grow deepest. You may not see the growth yet. You may not feel stronger yet. You may still wake up lonely. You may still wonder when your season will change. But keep working, keep praying, keep believing, keep becoming. Because roots grow in darkness. Nobody applauds roots. Nobody photographs roots. Nobody celebrates roots. But when the storm comes, roots are what keep the tree standing. And when the wind comes later, you will discover that you were not being buried. You were being rooted. You were becoming stronger beneath the surface. You were being prepared for a life you could not yet see. So use this season. Don't waste it. Don't let loneliness convince you that nothing is happening. Something is happening. You are growing. You are learning, you are becoming, and one day you will look back at this quiet season and realize the time you thought was empty was actually the time that built you. You do not need somebody beside you to enjoy your life. Ride that again. You do not need somebody beside you to begin living. Go see the place, take the trip, learn the thing, wear the clothes, start the project, take yourself to dinner, watch the sunrise, watch the sunset, celebrate your birthday, buy yourself the flowers. Make your home peaceful. Make your mornings meaningful. Stop waiting for somebody else to arrive before you give yourself permission to experience your own life. You keep saying, I'll do it when I have someone. No life now. Because life does not promise you that someone will arrive at the exact moment you are ready. And you cannot postpone your happiness indefinitely. You cannot keep your heart locked in a waiting room staring at the door, wondering when somebody is finally going to walk through it. What if they don't come tomorrow? What if they come next year? What if they come years from now? Are you going to spend all that time refusing to live? No, your life is happening right now. This morning matters. This afternoon matters. This ordinary Tuesday matters. This quiet evening matters. Stop treating ordinary days like they are merely waiting rooms for something better. There is beauty in ordinary days. There is beauty in making your own breakfast. There is beauty in walking alone. There is beauty in sitting quietly with your thoughts. There is beauty in discovering that you can create peace without needing somebody else to create it for you, live. Not because you don't want love, but because you refuse to make love the condition for your existence. There is a difference. You can desire companionship without becoming desperate for it. You can want love without abandoning yourself to get it. You can hope for someone without sitting around believing your life has not started yet. Your life has already started. This day counts. This breath counts. This moment counts. And there is dignity in learning to enjoy your own company. Take yourself somewhere beautiful. Try something new. Learn something that challenges you. Do something that scares you. Cultivate memories that belong to you. You don't need somebody else's permission to experience joy. And when you become comfortable alone, something changes inside you. You stop choosing people out of fear. You choose them from strength. You stop saying, please don't leave me. You start saying, if you cannot respect me, I can release you. You stop accepting disrespect just to avoid an empty room. You stop lowering your standards because silence scares you. You stop holding on to relationships that are slowly destroying your peace because you have learned something priceless. An empty room is better than a crowded life that destroys your spirit. You would rather eat alone than sit at a table where you are constantly disrespected. You would rather walk alone than follow people who are taking you somewhere your soul does not belong. You would rather experience temporary loneliness than permanent self-betrayal. That is not bitterness, that is wisdom. And perhaps God is teaching you that your happiness cannot depend entirely on human presence. People are gifts, but they are not your foundation. Your foundation must be deeper. Build your life on faith. Build it on purpose. Build it on discipline. Build it on gratitude. Build it on the courage to wake up every morning and say, I am still here, and because I am still here, I still have something to live for. So stop waiting, open the door, step outside. Take the journey, law again. Dream again, live again, not someday, not when someone arrives, not when everything becomes perfect. Now, because your life is not waiting for permission to begin, your life is already happening, and you owe it to yourself to be present for it. One day, you will realize that happiness was never something another person was supposed to hand you. It was something you had to cultivate, something you had to protect, something you had to practice, because happiness is not always a feeling that suddenly appears. Sometimes happiness is a decision. Sometimes it is waking up and choosing gratitude when life has given you reasons to complain. Sometimes it is forgiving yourself for the things you did before you knew better. Sometimes it is getting out of bed when your heart feels heavy. Sometimes it is taking one more step when you are tired of walking. You practice gratitude, you practice forgiveness, you practice discipline, you practice faith, you practice getting back up. Again and again and again. You stop asking life to become easier. You start becoming stronger. You stop asking, why am I alone? And you begin asking, what can I become in this season? That question can change your life. Because maybe this season is teaching you patience. Maybe it is teaching you independence. Maybe it is teaching you boundaries. Maybe it is teaching you how to recognize peace. Maybe it is teaching you how to stop confusing attention with love. Maybe it is teaching you that you can survive the departure of people you once thought you could never live without. And look at you. You are still here, you cried. But you kept going. You were disappointed. But you kept going. You were rejected. But you kept going. You were forgotten, but you kept going. You felt invisible, but you kept going. There were nights when you didn't know how you would make it through. And yet, morning came. You got up, you breathed. You continued. That means something. There is strength in you that loneliness has not destroyed. There is light in you that disappointment has not extinguished. There is purpose in you that rejection cannot cancel. Do not overlook what you have survived. You are stronger than the season that tried to convince you that you were weak. You have already survived moments you thought would break you. So if you have no one right now, do not become nobody to yourself. Do not abandon yourself because someone else did. Do not speak to yourself with the cruelty you would never show another human being. Be gentle with your heart. Be strict with your excuses. Protect your peace. Strengthen your faith. Keep your standards. Keep your dignity. Keep moving. And understand this. Being whole does not mean you never need anyone. It means you don't disappear when someone leaves. It means you don't lose your identity when somebody rejects you. It means you don't surrender your values because you are afraid of being alone. It means you can love people without losing yourself inside them. It means you can appreciate companionship without making companionship your foundation. And when the night becomes quiet, don't be afraid of the silence. Let the silence come. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Pray through it. Sometimes silence is where you finally hear the truth. You were never incomplete. You were never broken because somebody walked away. You were never less valuable because someone failed to recognize your worth. You were never waiting for someone to make you whole. You were learning how to stand, how to breathe, how to believe, how to forgive, how to grow, how to live, even when nobody was standing beside you. And perhaps that is the greatest gift this season can give you. The knowledge that you can stand alone without becoming empty. You can walk alone without losing your way. You can face silence without losing your voice. You can experience loneliness without losing yourself. You can keep believing when you cannot see what comes next. And you can keep moving forward, even when nobody is standing beside you.